Gerald Kennedy. He's kind of like an idol of mine. My middle brother, his name is John Robert. He named after both of the Kennedys.
What's up, guys? It's Khalil with Penpoint TV, and we got the world famous Lush One right here. And we're going to be talking about a few things today, some new projects he's working on. We're also going to be talking about something that I'm curious of as to his humble beginnings in the battle rap scene, which I'm a very big fan of. So one of the biggest battles that I remember 10 years ago, I believe it was 10 years ago, was the Battle of the Bay #2.
And yeah, was, literally it was like 10 years ago last Thursday.
Yeah, so it's like the 10-year of the decade anniversary.
It's literally the decade anniversary. Yeah, that was, what was crazy about that, that was a free event.
Okay.
It was in a park in Oakland, Northside Oakland. It was called Mosswood Park, and the park's got a crazy history. I really wanted to showcase, you know, West Coast culture, you know, elements of LA and Bay Area culture that, you know, through battle rap, and use that kind of as like a vessel to show people the different, you know, flavors of the region, because I learned so much about New York as an outsider watching. I learned so much of the elements of, you know, just the subculture of New York City through observing battle rap culture, that I kind of wanted to be an ambassador for the West. So I was taking us to places like Mosswood Park. That's where Gary Payton, you know, came up playing street hoop. It's one, I think it was in one of like the old 2K like street games. Like that's one of the courts. Is Mosswood. It's a legendary court in basketball, and just to give it that authentic Oakland flavor, and like just to show how we get down, because I learned so much about watching, you know, through watching early Smack DVDs, Fight Club, and just so much about New York culture through that, and the Ruckers and Harlem and all that, you know what I mean? So I was like, let me show you what's cracking on the West, and you know, that's a historic landmark. And what was crazy about that event is actually we didn't get any permits from the city. I just printed up a bunch of flyers, and I was like, and spent a bunch of money that I knew I wasn't going to recoup, but it was one of the first times anybody had ever actually like flown people out of state for a rap battle. Just, you know, no prize money, no judgment, just who's nice, who's whack. And you know, Disaster vs. Thesaurus happened that day. Dumbfounded vs. Tantrum, which wound up being the catalyst for huge viral career that Dumbfounded has had since then, and so much more. And there's a lot of crazy battles that day, and it was
Our whole movement of Penpoint, Penpoint is for all the writers. That's why I'm talking to Lush One here, because Lush One himself is also a writer, and a lot of people don't know that, but he's a very dope lyricist, and I've actually watched some of his battles back in the day as well.
Well, writing is something that's always been like intrinsic to my being. It goes back to, you know, it's generationally deep. My dad's a writer. My grandfather is a writer.
Oh, nice.
You know, in different mediums. You know, film and plays, Broadway, etc.
Really cool.
Generations deep. But for me, I remember at a very young age. I remember being 5 years old, and my dad saying, the reason why you tend to feel things more than other people, and you have kind of like a, you know, not to sound soft, but like a sensitivity, understanding of humanity that other people might not. It's called a touch of the poet. And that's always, you know, if you notice, I got it says language universal. I got the quill pen, and
nice.
It's my original name. Like, you know, back in the 90s, everybody, I think I was really inspired by Guru and his Gifted Unlimited Rhymes Universal acronym for his name. So I was like language universal, superhuman, or supplementing hip hop. I had all these different so language universal, that was one of my earlier tattoos. About it,
So that was one of your influences, Guru.
Definitely. You know, obviously, you know, huge influence on me for sure. R.I.P. Guru. But like I think a lot of rappers. I think Big Daddy Kane actually had that. His name was like King's always. You know.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, King always no equal or something like that. Like he had the acronyms were a part of like hip hop, like spelling out names going back to the '80s. So it's just like that kind of always stuck with me, and so I have my own little super corny acronym for my name. And which wasn't chosen by me but given to me as far as Lush, but the corny acronym was 100% my fault. But you know, I've been writing since a really early age, and people always had told me, teachers, etc., that I was a gifted writer, and I just applied it to the voice of what our generation is, which is hip-hop music. And you know, most of the best writers, they're not choosing to be poets, they're not choosing to be authors, they're writing raps.
Dude, I grew up on a lot of the 80s stuff. I kind of patterned myself after LL Cool J and Rakim. LL Cool J with the aggression, and Rakim with the lyricism. And then, of course, Public Enemy and all those guys. Then
for the political.
Came in. And now I could compare a Disaster, a Thesaurus, a Daylight to these people that I grew up listening to and being inspired by to write lyrics myself. These guys are on another level of lyricism as well as yourself.
Well, it's the foundation, you know what I mean? And my approach to lyricism is a lot different because I've always, before I was even into, you know, I got into hip-hop at an early age from my older brothers, but really, my father was also a jazz drummer as well. So I was into music of all different genres, and my understanding of songwriting and lyricism kind of supersedes just typical hip-hop songwriting, so I kind of look at things a little bit different. I have a lot of the same influences and elements as the guys you just mentioned, but there's things that are very different about the way that I write and the way that I just approach songwriting in general. You know what I mean? I'm really into melodies, I'm really into pop music, I'm really into hooks, I'm really into different things that people often overlook, and people will say this doesn't take talent to do so much. I'm very impressed by complex metaphors, but I'm also like a fan of the Jay-Z school of thought of saying the most complicated statement you can make in the most simple way possible. And you know what I mean? And like,
that's dope.
So that's kind of like something that I've always been into, and like it's like if anything, I'm such a lyricist. I've had to tone all that down in order to tap into that sensibility.
I ask a lot of artists this question: what was your point of the pen when you started? When you were really influenced to pick up that pen? What was that moment?
It's a good question. So I remember like the first rap song that I ever heard. The first real like song period I got into was actually the Beach Boys, Barbara Ann. And, but the first real, and I was like probably 2 years old. The first rap song I heard, I think I was probably like 4 years old. I heard The Message. And I can't really say I fully absorbed it too much, but I just remember hearing it.
Melly Mel, right?
Grandmaster Flash Mel. Melly Mel was the MC, but it's Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. And it was my first time ever really like hearing rap music. I had two older brothers, but it wasn't until like it was like Eazy-E and Ice-T. I think it was, you know, like 6 in the morning, the police at my door. Fresh Adidas squeak across the bathroom, but you know what I'm saying? Like it was like that, and then I was probably like Ice-T, I'm Your Pusher, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it was a power album.
Late 80s, you know, like 87, 88, and then Eazy-E, NWA. Like, I distinctly remember the We Want Easy video. And, Eric B. and Rakim, I remember Rakim was on the mic, and I know I got so, you know what I'm saying? Like, like all that shit. Like I'm saying, I'm like at 5, 6 years old, like I'm absorbing that. And but the first time I actually put pen to paper was in 3rd grade. I wrote my first rap. This was I'm about to be 37. in a couple months.
Oh, I bet you were like 27.
Yeah, and I'm about to
You're doing good, man.
Yeah, thanks, bro. I'm about to be 37.
For sure, bro. I got you beat. I just turned 46 yesterday.
Hey, you know what
I'm putting it out there, shameless.
Hey, I don't say my age, but here it is. I'm about to be 37. I remember in third grade, I think this is probably 1990, I would have to say. I remember I had a rap or a poem, and this was actually written in computer class, so I typed it up on an Apple II GS computer, and it was called Nick's Poem. And it said, and I was already using, like, intrinsically, at age 9, age 8, I was using polysyllabic rhyme schemes.
Oh, wow.
I said, if you read Nick's poem, you'll get the kick songs. Nick thinks Mussolini drove a Lamborghini and wore a bikini. You think that's wrong? You're a ding-dong.
Yeah.
You think that's lame? You're Saddam Hussein. You say no chance? You're in a trance.
Dope.
And this is age 8.
That's when you're 8 years old.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
8. And then there's a Criss Cross record, Jump.
Oh, yeah.
And
Criss Cross will make you jump.
I wrote my own version of that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, about 2 of my stuffed animals, Wisconsin Duck and Jody Duck, and they were both ducks.
Yeah.
They had their own version of Jump. I wrote that. I was probably 10.
You like creating remixes?
Yeah, remixes. Yeah, yeah. Because I don't really have too many frames of references, but I don't really know like what even. I'm from West LA, so it's like a diverse culture. There's a lot of Chicano culture growing up around me. I'm Italian, but so Kick songs, Nick's poem. I don't know Holmes. I was saying Holmes at age 8 apparently. So this is, I've never even talked about this in interviews before, but this is, we want to talk about pens.
Yeah, we go deep, man. We go to the ink of the pen.
I was already, they were saying I was a gifted writer at a really young age. Obviously not on the merit of Nick's poem, but
right.
Yeah, I was right. Yeah, I was always quick with the pen and quick with the words, and yeah.
That's dope, man.
Something that's never left me, something I've had to almost suppressed once I got really into the whole musical aspect, because I've written poems and books and screenplays and been published in various mediums, but music is a whole different skill set, and trying to gear towards that, you kind of have to change your whole entire approach to the pen.
Right. Yeah.
Now it's mainly this and this that are the actual pens.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I spoke to RBX recently, and we did a little interview as well.
I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
Yeah, there you go.
Shouts to RBX.
And he was telling me, he started off similar ways than the two of us, with Ice-T, and you mentioned 6 in the Morning. I believe that's on Rhyme Pays. That was
Yeah.
The Palm Tree and
6 in the morning, police at my door. French eat this week across the bathroom floor. You feel me? Yeah. And I was really into some of the Philly rap too, like Schoolie D. I was one for looking at my Gucci. It's about that time. You feel me?
Yeah. Speaking of Philly rap, shout out to Santos. I don't know if you've heard of Santos, but he's been doing his thing.
Respect to Santos.
Shout out to Santos. We'll probably be talking to him soon.
Absolutely.
But what would you say your main focus is right now in your career, and what you're trying to get out there and have the people enjoy?
I want to buy my mama a new crib.
Nice.
So whatever I could do to do that, I'm really focused on. Since music was always my priority since I was about 18, 17 years old, 1999, whatever. But there's always things that life comes in the way and derails these ambitions at times and things. But since last year, my music has been really popping again. I've actually I've got platinum plaques before. Shouts to Chinese Man Records for featuring me on the song "Get Up," which is platinum in France. So it's actually about to reach platinum on streams as well. So I think it's coming my way. There's the vinyl over there. You can see it up on the thing.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it was really all about the music and different ways of staying relevant in this ever-evolving climate of music and this transitional period for the music industry, and not being a slave to the system and not being an independent artist and still managing to keep the lights on and, stay dipped and have, my financial future and my family taken care of in various ways. So I dropped a single called White Lies about 15 months ago, and it happened to take off. Shouts to Avocado and Renew Day for being the catalyst to that. Shouts to Bobby Boucher and for featuring on the record, and Chase Moore for producing it.
Bobby Boucher.
Yeah. After that, so since December 18th of last year, we had the Fresh Coast Non-Perishables compilation, which I helped curate, executive produce, and had 17 of verses and hooks on.
Nice.
Then there was the Above the Devil album. Then there was the Hangovers and Withdrawals album. And then there was a 667 Cold Cultivate album. 4 albums that I put out this year. Got about 7 music videos I put out this year so far. I was right about
You get any sleep?
not too much, man.
Yeah.
As much as possible, but
You're
not too
vampire?
much. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, they say that my hairline was inspired by the Count from Sesame Street. So,
Yeah.
I'm definitely part vampire.
I knew it, man. I can sense it.
Yeah. Music's cool and all, but really I've been into fashion, and fashion's really been my thing. Music comes somewhat easily to me. Like I said, I've been writing my whole life, and obviously it's something I'm focused on, but fashion's always been my thing, and just being an originator and just being somebody that sets the tone flavor-wise.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not even something I really can help. It's just something, it's just who I am,
For some of our followers that follow the battle rap scene, how did you get involved with that?
Because I was always good at freestyling, and like I said, I've been rapping since the 90s, and at that point, there wasn't too many lightly complected MCs.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So people were quick to test you, and you kind of just, as an MC in general, you kind of had to have the battle rap skill set. Hip hop was a lot more competitive at that point. There was a lot less collabs, even classic hip hop collabs the Triumph, the Symphony, all these records. These are MCs kind of, scenario.
Yeah.
These are MCs trying to outdo each other,
right.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of the school of thought that I came from. And when I first I'm from LA, but when I first moved to the Bay, which is really where my earlier aspects of my career started launching off, it was a lot of battles, and I was like, people can continue, I can freestyle, I can freestyle right now, whatever, so it was that became people were quick to test me on that, and I started going to every neighborhood in the Bay, killing MCs, and so that, me as me being the member of my crew that was the battler, and, because I was trying to get my music, shouts to Delinquent Monastery, Delmont crew, Plex and Ajax, you know what I mean? I was one of the fools that was really, pushing the line on that battle rap tip, and it never stopped, and me just being, like I said, a flavorful, charismatic individual translated to hosting, and as much of a fucking nutcase as I am, I guess I'm a little bit more organized than a lot of my other friends are, so I was able to help put some of these events together, and kind of got shit jumped off.
Well, I noticed your personality right away when I started watching King of the Dot, and just in the battle weeks before that. Very energetic and funny, but you had insight, and you were quick. You always had.
It took people a while to get used to, that's cool that you notice it, and you a cool motherfucker, so Trill recognize Trill.
Thanks,
you know
man.
what I'm saying? I don't believe in censorship. I don't believe that anyone is entitled to putting out a positive message. I don't believe that is a fundamental element of hip hop culture. And I would love to discuss that if you disagree, because not on some debate shit, but just on some, I do not believe that is a fundamental element of hip hop culture whatsoever.
Right.
It's emceeing. It's just art. It's just what you're saying as a vocalist. You're talking about the streets, and so I don't think that anybody of this generation needs to do anything positive. Do I encourage it? Yes. I would like to hear more positivity, and I'd like to hear people outside the box. I love the, the Kendricks and the J. Coles, and the, these guys are important.
Sure.
Although, because it's outside the box of the monotony, and it's outside the box of just plain negativity that we're being spoon-fed.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it's this generation's responsibility to perpetuate that agenda whatsoever. Like NWA, at the time, people thought a lot of their music was negative, but they were just kind of echoing the sentiments of the average teenager of the hood in that generation. You see the same thing today with artists like Chief Keef, or you know what I mean? Like yes, it's horrible. Like some of the things he's saying could be defined as reprehensible, but this is what the average teenager from the hood is thinking. And that's what hip hop has always been about, is just street reporting.
Right.
And, you know, I don't think that they have it in them. I don't think that they have a responsibility to be positive. I just say they have a responsibility to be honest and focus on being as good as they can, skill-wise, and not, you know what I'm saying, focus on just getting attention and clout. But anybody that's bettering their family, making money for their family, getting their family out of the hood, I got nothing but respect for that.
Right.
Flipping bricks and hitting licks. I'll pimp your bitch, she a 304. She'll turn her friends out too, maybe 304. Pop a bean, then I reach my mode. Higher than a Marshawn when I beast on hoes. Creep by slow in the matte black 7 series. Touching so much fucking onions, I've been getting teary.
Should the host freestyle too?
Go ahead, bust it.
Evil within his soul, now we enter the black hole. And my eviscerator procedure's ready to bleed you out of control. Your flesh is mine, feasting time is during the rhyme. And I'ma sink my teeth into your skin and won't stop until your spine.
You see how we
little something for you.
You see how we come.
Little something for you.
You see how we coming, you feel me? We both nice, man. It's regular. Yeah,
man, so the next step for you, what is your next move? I know you're working with Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, we just started our own imprint as a subsidiary of 667 Records, which we just got distribution for, and it's called Fin 35, and that's I'm offering an outlet for dope up and coming artists that don't get the exposure and opportunities to have the eyes and ears on them that they would necessarily deserve, since I've always been about helping other artists. It's not always been about me, you know, it's never been just about me. And, as I transition back to full-time music from being a battle rap impresario, etc., I'm taking this to the realm of music as well. So Fin 35 is for all the dope MCs, artists, the creatives, the singers, you know, all the just dope artists that are, you know, don't necessarily have that imprint that I believe in, and I'm giving them that light. And it's not a part of 667, but it's under us. It's a part of our gallery.
That's great, man. Yeah, you know, we at Penpoint, we appreciate you and Bobby and all the artists that you work with, because Penpoint is a writer's brand.
Yeah,
it's a brand I created for writers. It's a brand that Method Man, you know, wore my hoodie, wore it on his
Shouts
show.
to Big Meth, man. One of the coolest. One of the only heroes to not disappoint me. You know what I mean? When I met him, man, he a chill one.
Oh man.
Shouts to Johnny Blaze. He called me and said, Lush One, crazy ass white boy.
Method Man was super cool. I asked him to throw on the hoodie, and he's like, right now? I'm like, if you could. And he just put it right on, and I'm like, thanks, man.
He said, for real, son?
Nah, he was cool.
Yeah, that's tight.
Because I don't know if you know my man Armin.
Yeah, I know Armin well. Shouts to my partner Armin. He right down the street.
Yeah. Armin is doing really well, and Armin was on the new Wu-Tang album.
Yeah. I heard him.
He's on the song G'd Up.
Killed it.
So shout out
That's
to
my
Armin.
folks. Shouts to him. Go to his store. You know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Shouts to the Our Wounds Are Still Open movement. You feel me? Like
Pentagon LA.
That's my partner Armin. You feel me?
So Armin's got the Pentagon LA. That's over on Grandview and
Glen Oaks.
Yeah. So. Yeah, definitely, man. What is your motivation now? Like when I know I've been seeing you like walking the dogs, you get your exercise on, you go in the gym. Yeah. Are you trying to get into better physical shape?
The discipline that it requires to go to the extent of going to the gym every day and watching what you eat actually improves your physical. Your mental health as well, and makes you just more of a disciplined human being overall. And it has affected me, obviously. You know, like I said, my motivation is my family, my godson Eli, my sis, my gang, my folks, everybody that's important to me, my parents, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's great, man. I've seen a lot of video clips with you and your godson.
Yeah.
You're like a real dad to him, you know?
Shouts to his father, Cadillac Ron, my brother, may he rest in eternal peace. He's still with us.
I know a lot of people called Eminem's last album garbage. I thought there was some good shit on there. But, you know.
Us as fans, we become very entitled. And we have this, we depend on the artists that we listen to for so much, for our sanity, for our self-esteem, for the way we dress, for the way we act, that sometimes we become so dependent upon them, we forget that they're actual human beings. We as artists don't owe the fans anything other than us being ourselves. So experimentation should be mandatory, unless you don't want to. You know, we don't owe them anything, you know what I mean? We just owe them, we owe them to do what we do, which is make music, be creative, and if they like it, they can consume it. If not, there's something else for them. And that's nothing against them. It's not our responsibility to cater to any specific individuals, although that's something I wrestle with all the time because I love my fans. I wouldn't be able to have this life that I live, anything that I own. I would be nothing without my fans, but I would still be me. So I guess that is something.
And you mentioned something very personal. You said that your next motivation is to buy a house for your mother. And through your music and all that you're doing right now, are you doing anything in film? Are you going back to script writing?
I actually sold my first screenplay about a year and a half ago, and it's production is commencing in 2019. I can't talk too much about it, and I am involved in a few other endeavors in front of and behind the screen as well. Shouts to my homie Bobby Boucher for being on the soundtrack to Eminem's new produced album Bodied, for his record called Necessary. I'm in the film as well as some of my other friends like Disaster and Daylight and some of the other people you mentioned.
That's amazing, man. One of the questions I like to ask for Penpoint TV, this show, we call it Point of the Pen. So as far as your writing process, I know a lot of us we'll listen to a beat and then we'll write something. And then some of us could be bouncing a basketball and then come up with a freestyle in our head, and then we go jot that down and then we find a beat for it. Me personally, I find it a lot easier to write to a beat. How do you feel about that? Do you have any certain preferences?
So I used to feel like you said, but me, I'm the type of person that I think of rhymes constantly, so you always see me writing in my phone 9 times out of 10. It's a rhyme or an idea that I have. Some of my best ideas, perhaps because cleanliness is close to godliness, they say, that I am in the shower and I'll think of 8-bar couplets that are just incredible. But, so I'll just take these rhymes, I'll take these ideas, and I can pretty much format them or fit them to any beat. So I have a cachet of ideas, of rhymes, and then if a beat comes on that fits that concept, or if my homies are vibing to something that fits that concept, I can just tap into that. So, and then I can flip it, I don't need to be I came in the door, I said it before. I can be I came in the door and I said it before. You know what I mean? So it's you can, there's infinite ways to get to that.
There is. It's not what you say, it's the way you say it.
So originally, for example, on my upcoming album Kennedy Bands, which drops December 18th, 18/12/18/18, the party will be at Black Sheep Gallery in Burbank, California, and we'll be doing a live stream of that as well. It'll be available on all outlets. There's a song on there where it's called Never Spend, and originally I wrote that as a rap, kind of a Bay Area style hyphy rap to an up-tempo beat, and then I heard another beat in the studio with my boy Assume, which made me want to sing from my soul. So I took the same lyrics that I took originally, and I'll just take a word or two out. I'm not trying to give too much sauce, but it'll be I'll be you feel me? I might originally be Scuffles get me doing Scuffles get me Louis Duffel on the flow. And then I'll change it to "Just get me on my toes, Louis Duffel dirty money on the floor." You know what I'm saying? So I can flip it to any beat.
That's dope.
It's
man.
just the words that are still there, so lyricism still prevails throughout the
That's right.
medium that it comes out.
That's right.
Which is the point,
that's what it's all
the
about.
pinpoint way,
Pinpoint.
right? Yeah.
Yo, man, my question is, who is your top 5 artists that influenced you? Not
Okay.
just rappers and...
Influenced me.
Yeah, any type of music.
Top 5 influences on me.
Yeah, could be Korn, Slipknot, whoever.
Okay. Amy Winehouse, Gucci Mane, Tupac, Slick Rick, Frank Sinatra.
Nice. That's a nice mixture right there. Now, why Frank Sinatra?
I'm Italian.
Yeah.
My grandmother was playing that
say
from when I was a kid. Like, you know what I mean? I grew up listening to Old Blue Eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, he fucked Marilyn Monroe just like John F. Kennedy. Marilyn Monroe's tattooed on me. I'm really into the whole Kennedy thing, hence the title of the album, Kennedy Bands.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
There's no E. All the E's are spelled with 3 E's in Kennedy Bands, and it's a hashtag. And really, the name of the album is a rooster emoji, but since it wouldn't let me do that on social and on streaming services, it's called Kennedy Bands.
Gotcha. What is your advice to anyone coming in the game and wants to be part of the music scene?
Be your motherfucking self, because I can only be who I am.
That's right. You heard it from Lush One. This is Khalil with Penpoint. We'd like to thank Lush for being with us. Thank you, brother.
No, we do, man.
Yeah, for sure. And what's the dog's name?
There's Millie.
That's Millie, guys.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
That way.